Hey everyone, welcome to the video of chapter 4, the prior knowledge. We're going to take a look at sort of recap of what we did in the last 2 years. And even then I think it's not a real good recap because some formulas that we did already discuss will come back later and will then be discussed in theory 4.2, for example. It is what it is. Let's take a look what the prior knowledge of chapter 4 is going to tell us about statistics and percentages, and then mainly it will be about percentages. First of all, calculation with large numbers. It's important to know at least those four right here and know what they mean. As in, yeah, of course I know that thousands is thousands. Do know that they have 3 zeros after the 1. A million has 6, a billion has 9, and a trillion has 12. To the right of here you see some translations, and you see that sometimes there are some differences between the Dutch and the English words as well. For example, be very wary of a billion in English and een biljoen in het Nederlands. A billion in English is a 1 with 9 zeros, while if I say 1 biljoen, dan heb ik het over een 1 met 12 nullen. You don't have to know this whole list, by the way, but it is good to know that translations don't really always go over well. You see it with trillion and trillion here as well, which actually is a factor of a million off. That's quite a lot. If you have, for example, 8.5 times 3.82 billion, don't punch this whole number with all the zeros into your calculator. Just do 8.5 times 3.82. That gives me this number. And then just add billion after it. So the answer is 32.47 billion. In calculation with large numbers, you usually have to round to the nearest thousand, to the nearest million, billion. Be sure that you know the rounding rules, right? So if you round this to thousands, that means 83,000, 84,000, 85,000, etc. Here it means rounding up because of the 6, so we get 84,000. Rounding this to millions will give you 5 million, because this 4 here indicates we round down. You may write it with all the zeros, you may write that using the word million as well, whatever you prefer. You have a choice. And then you can do calculations with this, right? Be sure to always take a look and be careful that you know what to round to, and use the approximately button when you are rounding. And if you're going to do this on a calculator, be sure that if you punch in it division, that you have the same units. So here they converted billions to millions, because then you can punch in 2400 divided by 30 in your calculator. You could have also converted 30 million to billion. Yeah, then you convert this to 0.0, right? So you're going to do it, then divide this by thousands. You get 2.4 billion, and then the number underneath in billion as well. You make a division, you get 80 as well. I always find that more difficult if you're going to convert a number up, because now you get a very small number, while here you're just going to add zeros and move the decimal point. I think that's always easier. The most basic of percentage-based calculations. Calculate 58% of 160. The first thing that you can do is write a percentage as a decimal number. For example here, 58% per 100 can be written as 58 out of 100, so that's the decimal number 0.58. You can do this step mentally, you don't have to write this down separately on your test. And then step 2 is multiply that with the given amount, in this case 160. 0.58 times 160. This is then your final answer, and depending on what the question is about, you have to round this maybe to a whole number, to an integer. Here we don't know the practical environment we're doing this in, so we just leave it like this. Okay, this is the part you also write down. Don't forget to write down your calculation. The other basic percentage-based calculation you can get is calculate what percentage something is of something. For example, I can also ask it in any class. For example, if I have a class with 30 students and 10 of them are girls, I can ask how many percentage of the class is a girl. What I always say is that you can do part divided by total. And total is the bigger number, right? So here that's 350. you can do 125 over 350 times 100%, and that gives you approximately this number here. Percentages are always rounded to one decimal, even if we don't say anything about rounding in the exercise itself. And do not forget the percentage sign now in your final answer. Okay. Don't use the percentage button in your calculator. If you punch this into your calculator, just do times 100 and you get there. Also, you see me writing this right now with the multiplication dots. What you oftentimes still see happening is that the book in this chapter, because they say we're working now with economics-based mathematics, they just do times 100 like this. That's of course also okay. I don't think we're going to use the x as a variable a lot in this chapter. I still prefer using the dots like this, but you do you. Okay? Practice those exercises in the prior knowledge as well and know the difference between a calculation like the first one and the second one. I think both of them are very doable, but yeah, if you're going to swap them up, then of course it's going to be a difficult chapter altogether. Okay? Good luck!